It is I, September Storrie, here to talk to you. FYI, in case you're not following me on Instagram, which you totally should be,
right now.
Just celebrated my 7th wedding anniversary. My man got me a new ring. When we first got together, I was like, I don't need 2 rings. That's too much. Who needs all these rings? Engagement rings, wedding rings, like who needs it? So I just had the one ring. And then Bobby wanted to get me a new ring for our anniversary. I wanted to update you on 30 Days of Gratitude. I am collecting stories for my 30 Days of Grace series, which is a sequel to my 30 Days of Gratitude. I am collecting stories of God's grace in your life. Just type them up and let me know if you are willing to have your name shared or if you'd prefer to be anonymous. I've already received some stories and I am looking forward to reading them. I'm wanting to do an in-depth look of what God's grace is, what it encompasses. I'm definitely procrastinating. It's a daunting task. I don't think I'm going to be able to completely get into what God's grace is, but I want to do what I can. And I believe, especially as believers, we experience God's grace all the time. And I do believe that everyone experiences God's grace and has access to it. Be sure to stay tuned. March 31st is when I start the 30 Days of Grace.
And it's gonna be fabulous.
I am drinking some coffee. I have my Life is an Adventure mug because boy is it.
The lighting is weird. I'm gonna work on it. I'm working on it, okay? I'm getting there.
I have been writing a project off and on for almost a decade now, and it is something that I am very passionate about, but I am not as focused on it as I need to be because I want this book or books. At this point, I think it is a trilogy. I finally settled on that. I didn't want it to be a trilogy because at first I'm like, it's one book. It's just one book. It's so simple. It needs to be a simple story. But it's not simple. It's not simple at all. I grew from 1 book to 2 books to 3 books. This year, I really wanted to focus more on that and actually getting it done.
Doing the work, making it happen.
It's gonna happen. I describe it as a dark, Victorian-esque fantasy about a group of prostitutes that live in a corrupt town or city. I was considering possibly starting a writing vlog series. That way I have you to keep me accountable to keep writing. I thought I could take you on my writing journey. I can discuss my creative process. Let me know if you're interested in seeing like just a writing vlog. As I learn, I can share with you what I'm learning. You can just kind of see what it's like for yourself. Also, please let me know books, works of fiction that might be helpful to me in this writing journey because as I'm getting back into writing, I also want to get back into reading because I have not been doing so great on that. And obviously as a writer, I need to sharpen my craft. I'm specifically wanting to read books that are really good at character development, world building, probably a lot of fantasy, and or really excellent plot structure. They don't have to all be fantasy, but just good quality works of fiction that can just kind of sharpen my mind in that area, I guess. So let me know if you're interested in being a part of my writing journey and any books that you might recommend for someone like me on that journey. And this part is kind of just a more specifically a kind of a personal note for me, something maybe I will talk about more in further videos. I think a couple months ago, I started going to therapy. I've been spinning in these loops in my life. I think I have identified at least a good portion of the sources of those issues, the issues themselves. So I'm sure I haven't figured them all out, obviously, but I'm just wanting to break out of these unhealthy and toxic thought processes, loops, and I want to overcome them. I have seen so many people in life that I watch and I'm like, you have so much potential, but I can see that there are things in the way that are holding you back from what you can be. And sometimes even much older people were like, there's so much there, you have so much to offer, but you won't let yourself get out. And I don't want to be like that. I am 30 years old now and I want to live my best life, but just not just in like a selfish way, but in the most, how can I be the most that I can be? How can I help the most people? How can I be the most productive in my life? Unless I'm making progress constantly to improve myself and be who I was called to be. I don't want to be stuck in the same spot, in the same mindsets forever. I don't want to do that. I want to live well, not in the way that the world says living well. I don't want to live in a prison that I created for myself. I don't want to live in any prison, but especially in here, I don't want to live in a prison. So I went to a few sessions and I've decided to change therapists. She was a good therapist, I believe. She was fairly helpful, but I realized very quickly that we were coming from very different worldviews, and I wanted someone with a similar worldview to mine so that we are coming from the same place, but hopefully they're coming from a healthier place. But it just wasn't a good fit for me. I think that therapy is another tool in our lives that can be used to do what we need to do what we've been called to do. Hebrews chapter 12 verses 1, it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin that clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race set before us." And that's what I want to do. I want to take off the weights that are holding me down in life and in my mind. I believe even in my walk with God. I want to lay those things aside. So that's why I'm going to therapy, because I want to get better. I know it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be comfortable, like being comfortable. But I think even better, I would like to be healthy and moving forward at a consistent speed. So I'm telling you that things are going to get better, and I will not let these things hold me back from what I am called to do. I'm getting close to the end of my notebook. So I'm getting close to the end. Let's see if I can find. So close to the end. And also sad news, it ripped and I have not helped it. And it's kind of ripping here. This notebook has been great. It's Pink Mackerel. I forgot what the brand was. Is Pink Mackerel the brand? I think so. Got it off of Amazon. So I'm having some struggles. And the thing is, the paper is really thick. I'm not a notebook expert, but I don't think that the binding, the spine was made with that in mind. It was very thick paper, very sturdy paper, and I love it, but I don't think the notebook itself was made to handle that. That's my personal opinion. It's been great. Otherwise, like I said, the paper is awesome and it's been very great. There's only been some bleeding through, and that's when I get crazy and use a Sharpie or a Sharpie-like device. That is what's going on with me at the moment. 30 Days of Grace is coming up fast. Please send in your stories to my DMs on Instagram, September Storrie. And let me know if you would like to be a part of my writing journey and if you have any book recommendations. Also, yeah, I don't know what there is to say about therapy. If you're going to therapy, continue, I would say. And I've been told that it is important to remember that if the therapist you are with is not a good fit, you don't have to stay there. Yes! I will see you again soon. Stay tuned.